What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Ultravox, and we're returning to Lament 1984. Thank you again to Phil for providing the larger catalog. And the next tune on the playlist is Heart of the Country. I reacted to a tune by Frida, though written by Stuart Adamson of Big Country, called Heart of the Country, and I think that song was also 1984. Nevertheless, I'm not expecting this to be a cover or another version of that song. I'm guessing this is a completely separate song with a... what's the right word? There's a word when two things are actually unrelated, but they just happen to converge. I guess a convergent title. But yes, to probably say something similar as I did in my reaction to the Frida song, Heart of the Country sounds like it could be geographical, cultural, demographic, something about it being the very center of the country. And again, that might not be in terms of the actual geographical landscape. It could be socio-culturally, historically, a place where a lot of prominent and historical institutions or cultures are located. It could be about, again, socioeconomic matters, meaning whether it's, people who work in agriculture or whatever is like the economic lifeblood of the country. You could see that being represented as the heart of the country. It could be about actual emotion, like the psycho-emotional heart of the country, something that people are anchored to or consider to be valuable and important. It could be more than one of those things, or indeed none of those things. So I'll try to catch what I can on a first listen. This is Ultravox. The tune is Heart of the Country, and it's from their 1984 album Lament. I love that one sonically, and in fact, I became so transfixed on the sonics in the latter half when it really did not become an instrumental. I mean, the title phrase was being repeated, but the last minute or two of the song was really just a run out of the sonics that constituted the atmosphere of this one. And because of that, I lost track. There was a lyric I wanted to comment on, and I lost it. The one phrase, or the notable phrase, or a notable phrase that does still stick out to me was pretty early on, and it was something like a charade and a facade. And both of the, going through the motions, but you're not really doing the thing that you're representing with physical movement, and a facade, something that looks like the real institution or structure in question, but is in fact just a front and doesn't have the full substance of the thing in question. Those two words make me wonder here whether Heart of the Nation, or Heart of the Country, sorry, is maybe not what it seems, or is not what the narrator thought it would be, or seems shallow or plastic or hollow. So I wonder if there is a disconnect between what you would normally expect in terms of the phrase, like the full deep heart of the country, whatever level or multiple levels that might be manifesting on, or indeed whether it's something that is chimerical, or something that is, again, lacking in full substance, and the narrator has come to realize that. But again, there was another line, something about like waiting for it. I'm not sure. I feel like that's a stab in the dark, but there was definitely a line like a minute or two in where I was like, oh, I got to think and talk about that at the end. And then I was just so focused on the sonic arrangement that I lost sight of it. But the sonics that I was focused on, like, it had this weird combination. It, like, some of the sounds and some of the feeling was like celestial. It was up in the sky and had this sort of magical sound to it. But it also had a bit of a like metallic industrial sound to it. And then even some of those sounds that I would kind of put in that category, maybe they were less metallic and almost like sounds coming from a glass cathedral or a like crystalline clock or something like that. And then the drums almost had this martial marching quality. So it had some different flavors to it, and I enjoy the way they all came together because I was very compelled by the arrangement and the melodies. But again, it had this like marching rhythm to it. It had a bit of a metallic industrial sound, one or two moments even where it was a little bit dissonant. I wouldn't call it dissonant in any comprehensive sense. The melodies were more, I think, consonant and again a bit like astronomical in their sound. But yeah, it had this weird synthesis of some different sonic flavors, at least as my ears and brain heard it on this first listen. But definitely a really cool one. I'm curious to know what people will have to say about this. And again, I apologize, I only caught a few of the lyrics, and only like one of them really burned into my brain by the end of the song, which again, that is sort of the way things would go for me historically. I listen to a song, I catch some lines, I listen again, I catch some more lines, I listen a third and a fourth time, and by then I usually can hear most of it. And again, going back to like the 80s and 90s, if after a half dozen listens there was still like a line or a phrase that I couldn't hear clearly, I'd either look in the booklet, or I guess in more recent times, late 90s into the early 2000s, I would start looking online like, wait, oh, that's what he's saying there. But again, one of the cool things about doing these YouTube videos is a lot of people know these bands and songs and albums, going years back, and are very knowledgeable about them, the origin of the song or different interpretations of the song. So oftentimes now that information comes to be much quicker, and it's cool to engage with people. And again, one of the cool things I love about doing these videos is even some longtime fans, end up talking to each other, and sometimes there's something that one person knew that another person didn't, and it's, very enlightening to people beyond just me. So I do enjoy the way that it's sort of like how I used to listen to and integrate or come to understand songs and music, but in a sort of accelerated and more community-based fashion. So I very much enjoy that. In any case, let me know what you think of this one. I enjoyed it, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.